All right, then. So now let's talk about the root variable, right? So in this case, I'm going to delete all these things. Okay. So here you can see we define the borders as the red color and the background colors, something like this, right? So think about it that you wish to change. So if you are having a way big project like thousands of codings, and later you wish to change your entire UI colorings, so you have to go and modify every single line, the text color, the text size and everything. You just have to customize it every point over there, right? So instead of doing that, what we can do is we can create ourselves a root variables, right? So what we have to do is we have to use the var function, right? So the var function is used to insert the values of for the css variables. So this is the one which I'm talking about, the var function. So the var function, it is a function. Var is the function used to insert the value of a css variable, right? So a css variable has the access to your DOM, which means that you can create variables with the local or global scope and change the variables with the JavaScript and change the variables based on the media queries, right? All right. So a good way to use the CSS variables is when it comes to color of your design, instead of copy and paste the same color over and over and again, you can place them using these variables, right? So let's go with the traditional way first. Okay, so let's target the traditional way. Okay, so give me a minute, 1 second. So let's design something using the traditional way first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally clear all these things, clear it, and here also I'm going to clear everything. Okay, so first I'm going to have myself a h1 tag, and I'm just going to say this is or the traditional way or something, right? Then right after here I'm going to have a division called container, and inside that container I'm going to have a heading which is going to be lorem ipsum, and I'm going to have a paragraph tag with some dummy text, right? So like this, and I'm going to have a button, two different button inside in it, which is going to be the type of the button itself. Let's say yes or no, something like that, right? This is how it looks. Okay, so let's go ahead and write some styles over here. So for that, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to say body tag, which is going to be the background color of the body tag, which is going to be hash 1e90ff, something like this. Then I'm going to target the h2 tag, which is going to be border bottom 2 pixels solid hash the same color code. Okay, perfectly fine. Then right after this, I'm going to target the container, which we do have inside it, which is say color of the text, which is going to be hash 1e. Then the background of that color, which is going to be the white, something like this. Then I'm going to have the padding, which is going to be 15 pixels, something like that. And for the entire body tag as well, as I'm going to bring the padding like this. All right, so for the container I'm just going to say border radius as 10 pixels, something like that. Okay, then I can target the button, each and every button in it, button. So the background color of the button, which is going to be hash triple f, which is the white color itself. Then I'm gonna say have the color as hash 1e, something like that. Then I'm gonna bring the padding, so padding, which is top and bottom, which is going to be 12 pixels, left and right, which is going to be 24 pixels, something like that. Then border radius, which is going to be 8 pixels, and the border, which is going to be, oops, this is border radius, and the border, which is going to be 1 pixels solid, something like that. This is how it looks. So this is the traditional way of approach. So think about it. If you want to change the background colors of H2 and H1, font size and the border radius, we have different border radius, primary and the secondary, right? So in that situation, so if you wish to change these things, you have to target each and every element separately, right? So that gives us a more headache. So instead of doing in that specific way, we can go ahead and work with the CSS variables by using the var functions. So we know that the CSS variables can have a global or local scopes, right? That's the default. That's the most important thing that we need to understand. Then the global variables can be accessed used through the entire document, while the local variables can be used only inside the selector where it is declared. So to create a variable with a global scope, we have to use the root selector. So if you're creating a var inside this particular condition, right, inside this particular container, it is accessible only inside this container. So if you want to make it as a global scope, then that's the place where we need to use the root selector, right, which matches the root document. So to create a variable with the global scope, first I have to define the root variables, which is going to be root selector itself. So inside the root selector, I need to give the primary color, secondary color, and the primary border radius, secondary border radius, all these things. So let me define it. This is the border radius primary, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to choose it as a secondary one, which is 10 pixels and 8 pixels. All right. So now for the background, instead of using that, I'm going to say var, and then I'm going to target the primary color. Then over here also, I'm going to say var primary color, and over here also for the color, I need to change the primary color, and I need to change the secondary color, and for the border radius, primary border radius, and for the background and the color and every place, I need to change the rest of the stuff. So now still it will give me the same way which I wanted, but see, the beauty over here is if I wish to change the color, just I have to update the color over here, and it is going to instantly change the entire look and feel. See, it is going to instantly apply all those color changes over there. That's the beauty of working with this root selectors. You can see the changes instantly, right? So this really helps us when we are building a real-time applications with the long lines of codes, right? So I hope you guys understand how to work with uh, the variables and how to work with the root selectors and everything, right? So I hope you understand the difference between the traditional way and by working with the variables, right? So next, let's go ahead and discuss the positioning of those. Yeah, we need to discuss about the positioning, like relative, absolute, fixed, sticky positions, static positions, all these different positions, right? So let's go ahead and discuss that.